On today's podcast, I had Houston Crosta on. If you don't know who Houston is, he owns over 150 franchises for Houston's Hot Chicken. He's also a famous YouTuber. He's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers on his channel. Just overall good dude. In fact, I did a YouTube video with him about probably a month back going over his franchise and what the numbers look like and everything else. And the YouTube video got such a great reception that I had to come and get him for a podcast so we could talk more in depth about it, because to me, the franchising is so unique. It's something that I've never done since I've started all my own businesses from scratch, but I think it's a great option for a lot of people. So in this episode, we really broke down what the numbers look like, kind of what somebody else would need to franchise, kind of like what the time commitment is, money-wise and, time-wise and everything. And so it was really good. We also went in depth on private planes, Houston spending habits and everything else. And also, I'm not saying that this is going to happen for sure or anything, but we might be starting a fund to buy some Houston's hot chicken franchises. So if you want to learn more about that, make sure you stay till the end of the episode. Now, let's jump into it. Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show, where our mission is to invest.
I only expect to make money in things that I understand.
Innovate.
It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past.
And inspire. I am much more likely to hit my goal just due to putting it out there.
You're now rocking with the best.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ryan Pineda Show. Today, I've got myself an entrepreneur that is very much like me in that he cannot help himself from starting new businesses. This man is out here in Vegas like myself. If you watched me on YouTube doing the walkthrough of the Houston's Hot Chicken franchise and how excited I was about it, it was just a great video and it got a ton of great feedback. And one of the biggest feedbacks I got was, Ryan, we want to know more about franchising. Like, can we franchise with you on this? Like, what can we do? I got so many emails and, my man Houston got a ton of inquiries about it. So I want to talk more about franchising. I want to talk about YouTube. I want to talk about business. And I had to get him back in here. Got none other than Houston Crosta. What's up, man?
Ryan, thanks for having me, dude. I'm super stoked to do these videos. I have a podcast myself, but I typically don't talk about the things that I want to talk about. My podcast is reserved for all the crazy rental car stories and, all the bad things that happen in my personal businesses. So when I get to come on your show, I get to be like an educated adult, right? And I really love it because I don't know, I get to put my little jacket on and I feel at home here.
Yeah.
So
Your
I feel
podcast is like TMZ.
Exactly. It's all drama, and my YouTube channel is pretty much all drama. I actually just recently changed the name of my YouTube channel from Royalty to Houston Crosta because I'm like trying to like diversify myself from all this ridiculous drama. I mean, it's sustainable, but it's very aggravating, like I used to be really fit. I used to have like 180 pounds, nice muscle. And now I'm like 200 pounds. I'm like slouching now. I'm like, my hair's gone. It's personally not sustainable to me to just continue the feed into the drama, So
but the people love it.
Oh, the people love it. It's great views, So it sucks to like when I put out like responsible content and talk about like my restaurants, I get like 60,000 views, right? When a car crashes, I get like 2 million views. And I'm just like, God, I'm caught, between the things. So part of me wants to just turn my YouTube monetization off so I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. So then I don't really care what happens. Right. Because when you see the numbers, you're just like, oh, I need to follow the money, business sense, follow the money. But I don't know. I'm really feeling being on these business channels because it gives me it gives me kind of like that stamp of approval that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So, I mean, you went to the restaurant, you saw it, you like it.
Yeah.
Food's good.
It was great. It was
right?
amazing. We're going to talk a lot about the hot chicken. But for those who don't know you, first and foremost, like, what are we even talking about right now? This guy crashes cars and
I know, right?
He has a hot chicken. Like, tell people who you are.
So yeah, no, I'm Houston. And you guys can Google me. So Houston Crosta. There's a bunch of fun stuff on the internet about me. I started a really cool exotic car rental experience when I was like 25, and it became pretty popular. It was like one of the first of its kind. And
what year was this?
2015.
Oh wow! So you've been doing it for a while.
I guess. I mean, I'm 33 now, so it's been 8 years. Yeah, it's feels like 30, but yeah, it's been like 8 years. I started a YouTube channel like in 17. Started like filming all of the royalty content, right? So my business is called Royalty Exotic Cars, and I started filming all the crashes, the wrecks, all the cool cars I bought. I personally have an addiction to $1 million hypercars. I kind of like, I'm known for like buying them and tearing them up. And so it's another cool part of my little channel. Outside of the office here, I've got a couple $1 million Pagani that I just put straight pipes on.
Oh, we're definitely getting that in the vlog.
Yeah, no one's actually seen that yet, so that'll be a good one. First of its kind. So first person to straight pipe a Pagani. That's
I don't even know what that means.
well, it means basically just take all of the restriction out of the exhaust and make it as loud as retarded as possible, right?
Jeez.
So, like, you ever heard of those guys in the Mustangs driving by and you're like, wow, that car is really annoying. Well, that's what my $3 million Pagani sounds like now.
Wow.
So
We're definitely gonna get that on the YouTube channel.
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I'm digging it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, a couple years ago, myself and my business partner, Edmund Bersagian, he's another car guy. He's actually a professional race car driver. He and I decided that we needed to diversify. And I had a lot of auxiliary businesses in the car world. I made wheels, I had a service shop, a car wash. I actually have a furniture store and a med spa. Like I have all these little things, but I was like, no, we need the big one, right? And both of us, he actually had a real estate company, kind of like you. He was a developer, developed small areas and had an oil field. And so both of us combined were like, we need to go into something scalable. And we landed on restaurants. And he loved hot chicken. I liked the ability to market, something cool and new. So we created this thing called Texas Hot Chicken. We named it after myself, Houston's Hot Chicken. And we got a good thing going.
Yeah.
We've got about 150 franchises. I mean, literally, we did a video like a month ago with you, and I've already signed 50 more franchise stores since then.
That's crazy.
And it's, people are committing, right? So like we're not opening 50 in a week. We get a guy that wants to do 10. He signs on for 10 stores, pays us the franchise fees, starts building the first one. So we opened our first actual franchise location July 3rd, just like a couple of days ago.
Wow. Where's that?
Cerritos, California. And that franchisee is only 19 years old. First
Wow.
business.
Where'd he get all his money?
He was actually a realtor.
Oh, wow.
So in 1 year, I mean, he started being a realtor like in 2020 and he made enough money in real estate to
He's like, I'm buying a franchise.
basically, yeah. I mean, he probably had a little bit of money from inheritance or something like that before.
Right.
I don't know exactly how much money he made from real estate, but he did really well. He's very intelligent and he's running the show by himself.
Right.
Anybody can do this business because it's so simple.
Right.
You're just making one item, man. You're making a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
It's not like we have like 800 menu items and all these recipes and all this stuff. So it's like a business that I think everybody can be a part of. It's very similar. Like imagine if you owned an In-N-Out burger. How hard could it be, dude? You want cheese on there or not?
Yeah, they give you everything
you
that
just
you need to do.
You just make the burger. You just keep making the burger, just like Cane's. The only thing they sell is chicken tenders.
Right.
You just fry the tenders. How many do you want? 6? Okay, here, put 6 on a plate and give it to you. It's not hard work, right? So we have the same similar concept, right? I mean, we're serving organic food, right? Mary's Organic Chicken, same stuff you get at Whole Foods. It's like really, just really good food.
Yeah. Well,
And,
what is interesting to me is being somebody who started every business I own from scratch. Like I've never acquired a business. I've never, franchised a business. So when I have to do that, I think of everything. I'm like, what's the marketing plan?
Mhm.
Who are we hiring? What's the structure look like? What's our product? And so I go through all these things and I'm able to do it because I've done it so many times now. But when I think about buying a franchise, I'm like, holy crap, this is way easier. Like the product's already there. The R&D's, already happening.
Done.
The marketing's done. You have a brand name. They already have the systems and processes. It like makes it so much easier.
It's franchising. We had this conversation when we did the YouTube video together. Franchising is built for people who have a lot of money that want cash flow, right? You don't have to have all the money, but it's a cash flow business, right? So if you have $500,000 and you want to make basically 5 to 10% on your money every month, you buy a franchise,
Right.
right? So, and that doesn't mean just me, right? Houston's Hot Chicken. It could be anybody, right? Just my particular industry is booming. The fried chicken industry is taking its second run. I mean, in the early late 90s, the chicken sandwich became popular, like Burger King and McDonald's, and that's when they introduced that product line. right? When there was beef shortages, there was a lot of problems with beef,
Mad
you
cow.
know, bunch of things going down. And so now we've got this resurgence of fried chicken and it's becoming its own thing, right? Now, 2-3 years ago, hot chicken got really popular. Now, this is Nashville hot chicken. We have something different. Nashville hot chicken is predominantly darker, it's spicier. If you look at the color of it, it's really red. It's a lot of powder, right? It hurts your stomach if you eat a lot. And Nashville hot chicken got really popular in Los Angeles, right? Now there's like 100 Nashville concepts out there. I mean, there's
Right.
just an immense amount of people doing that. It's actually like everybody's name hot chicken, you know? And so when we created the Texas hot chicken, we created it for like the masses, right? We didn't do an LA version. We just basically did this like sweet, really quality sandwich that you've had it. It's
Yeah,
great.
and I can attest to that. You know, we on the YouTube video, you know, I filmed it. I tried everything they had. You know, their mild one, their spicy one, their super spicy one, and all of it was delicious. You know, the spices weren't like overwhelming where you couldn't feel your tongue, and it was like a very flavorful spice. And you know, to see the quality of the chicken, like you said, like I remember I got the tenders, and I'm like used to tenders that have more bread than meat. And it was like, man, these tenders are like the meatiest tenders I've ever seen. And then
Yeah. I
the
mean, it's fresh
lemonades,
food.
yeah, they were all just amazing. Everything was great.
The-
I don't know if I could eat it every day.
Well, it's fried food. You shouldn't eat it every day. And I don't want anybody to eat it every day. Right. Now, no matter how much money we would make from that, it'd be great. But reality sets, we're using fresh oil every day. I mean, we've got the sickest proprietary oil system you could ever see. Right. I mean, you've got like these huge 500, 400 gallon tanks in the back that filter the fryer oil automatically, got sensors built in. I mean, we really had a tech approach to building the kitchen. And I'm like really proud of that.
Right.
But it's still fried food. It's the
Right.
best fried food I swear you're ever going to have, but it's still fried food. Maybe one day we can work in a grilled option where you could eat it every day,
right.
but it's not in the cards right now. And I think that there's a lot of people that would just love to eat fried food every day. So I think it works, you
Yeah.
know, and we're looking at markets across the country that demand this type of food now, right? I mean, you're Raising Cane's is like actually a really good attest to it, right? Now, Raising Cane's isn't quality food. No, it's not. It's complicated. Chicken's complicated. Before I get into it, I don't really want to be like the guy that talks bad about other things, right? Because I'm not that guy. But the way chicken is produced in America is so disgusting.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
I learned about it, and that's why we have Marys. So typically, your chicken is like they're electrocuted, then they're killed, and then they're plucked, and then they're bathed in chlorine. It's like really gross.
Yeah.
And they sit in a bath of chlorine that's 40 times more powerful or more potent than a public pool. And that's what we're eating, right? And they sit in that for 4 hours to disinfect them, right? And Marys, they don't electrocute the chickens, so they're never alive when they get, killed. They go through a low oxygen environment, so they never have those like red stress like things that you see in chicken sometimes, the blood vessels that pop. And they're air chilled. So air chilling eliminates the chlorine, eliminates the infections, eliminates everything. So that's why the food is better. It's not hollow because there's no antibiotics in it. There's no like pumps, right? Because those other chickens, they need to be pumped full of stuff to get the weight up, right? Because you're selling chicken by the ounce. So if you want a 3-ounce breast, I have a 1-ounce breast. I can pump it full of water, salt solution, and give it to you. And it's now 3 ounces. Now you're selling that as a 3-ounce breast.
Wow.
That's what McDonald's does. Raising Cane's does. All those people do. So it's
The
different.
chicken industry savage. I actually made this joke on my Instagram stories the other day. You know, I was making some scrambled eggs, and I looked at the carton, and inside the carton, it was like, "This is charismatic Carolyn the chicken.
Oh my
It's our
God.
chicken of the month." And you know, she's been really lighting it up with these eggs lately. And I was just cracking up. I'm like, what is going on here? And, I had posted, I'm like, who highlights the chicken of the month that they're about to slaughter? Like, what's
Right.
going on here?
Yeah.
But they're like, dude, that chicken lays eggs. They're not going to slaughter it. And I'm like, still, who highlights like these chickens? Like, this is so
We're
random.
killing all of your kids, Carolyn. Thank you.
Your kids were delicious.
It's like-
Yeah. So
Wow.
it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's crazy. You know, one thing we were talking about I don't think it made it into the video, but we were talking about it off camera. It's just like what these franchises make. So let's run through this. And what makes kind of Houston's interesting is that you guys are more of a high ticket franchise, right? Like
We are, yeah. Average ticket's over $20.
yeah, $20,
Yeah.
so you're not the dollar menu at Burger King.
I don't want to be.
Yeah. And I don't think that even the dollar menu really exists anymore with inflation.
I agree. I actually have a drive-through, and I think our drive-through you went to the drive-through. It does great numbers, but I'm not doing another one.
Why not?
Because I don't like the vibe.
It gives you the feel of this is fast food.
Exactly. And I serve beer at every other location except the drive-throughs. And I'm like, why would I do this to myself? Why would I ruin the brand that I built with the drive-through? Because, the pandemic confused a lot of people, right? And it confused a lot of businesses, right? It was like a domino effect. I heard that Shake Shack's building drive-throughs, and then now they're not. But like everybody was like, they had to move fast and go towards the way of the new normal and stuff. And
Takeout.
the problem is that like the next generation, right? Like the kids that are employed here and those guys, they're going to be ordering from Uber Eats. Most of them don't even have cars. Like the drive-through will probably become a thing of the past in the future anyways, right? Because the ability to deliver food is so much more natural now. I mean, McDonald's doesn't charge any more than whatever they charge in the store on Uber Eats, right? Like people are just going to order delivery at their house versus getting in their car, driving and getting the food.
Right.
Now I get it if you're getting off work and it's convenient, you drive through, but I don't want that customer, right? I want the customer that wants to come in, sit down, relax, and have a good meal.
Yeah.
And if I have to make less tickets because of that, right? Oh, so be it.
Right.
But I'll raise the ticket volume with the beer, right? Sit down, watch a baseball game, have fun,
right.
just use it as an environment, right? And that's what raises the profits,
right.
So if you look at the most profitable restaurants, Shake Shack's at the top of the list, dude.
Right.
They're crushing it.
Right.
I mean, some of their stores do $4.5 million a year.
Right.
Do you know how much money that is for 2,000 square feet?
What do you think that store nets if it's making 4 or 5 mil?
Shake Shack's, I mean, we could look it up. It's a publicly traded company, but I bet if I had to take it like just a really educated guess, plus 32 to 34%.
You think they net that high?
I do.
Wow.
They have a great system.
They're making 1 to 1.5 mil net.
I mean, their company's worth $10 billion with 368 stores.
Yeah,
they have to be. I mean,
yeah,
it's a numbers game. Right? They have 368 stores, and they're worth more money than half the franchises out there that have 5,000 stores.
If you're listening to this podcast, then my guess is you're interested in real estate investing. Some of you are just starting out, while others are trying to scale their business to the next level. But the problem is, with so much information out there, most people don't know which program or coach to trust. Well, I'm a bit biased, but I believe my company, Future Flipper, can help you get to the next level. We've coached thousands of students from all over the world on how to build their real estate investing business. It doesn't matter whether you want to flip, wholesale, or buy rentals. Our coaching program has everything you need to become a great investor. There are many things that we include with coaching, but to give you a few examples, you're going to get an accountability coach. These are people that have had success in their own business, and they want to make sure that you achieve success in yours. We also have all of our documents, our systems, and processes that I've used to buy hundreds of homes. You can copy and paste them directly into your own business. And we have events where you get to meet me, top-level guest speakers, and other students who are crushing it. My students do deals with each other, and I personally do deals with them too. In fact, at a recent event, I just honored over 20 people in our program that made over $1 million in the last year. So if you want to grow your real estate business, head over to futureflipper.com and apply for a call with our team. The call is completely free, and they can help point you in the right direction whether you work with us or not. So go to futureflipper.com and book your call today. For the last year, the real estate market has been on absolute fire. Prices are at all-time highs, interest rates are at all-time lows, and there is more money in the economy than ever. But with so much competition, many investors are sitting on cash, struggling to find great deals. If this sounds like you, then you need to invest with Pineda Capital. With my network and social media following, we get access to the best real estate deals all over the country. And if you're an accredited investor, you can invest with me on those deals. In fact, last year we purchased a 334-unit apartment complex in Georgia for almost $20 million. We expect it to be worth well over $30 million when it's all said and done. Our goal with each deal is to build in so much equity from the beginning that we're able to refinance our investors' cash out and own the properties together with little to no money into the deal. And the best part is, you don't have to do anything. Our team will find the deals, handle the renovations, get them leased, and eventually refinanced or sold. All you have to do is provide the capital. So if you want exclusive access to our deals before they hit the public, go to pinedacapital.com to schedule a call. We can put your money to work today to start getting you great returns. So go to pinedacapital.com now to get access to our deals. All right, so let's talk about this. Shake Shack's killing it. You said Cane's is another one that kills it.
Cane's is phenomenal because they don't have any other items besides chicken fingers, right?
So
Now,
what does a Cane's make?
Cane's, they gross. I don't know what they net because they're not publicly traded. A lot of their gross data is available because of landlords, right? Getting the AUVs and sharing that information, because they lease all their buildings.
Right.
Cane's is it's very interesting. There's a podcast with Guy, forgot his name, Guy something. He How I Built This.
Yeah, I've seen that guy.
Yeah, he interviews the founder of Raising Cane's, and he talks about the pandemic and all the stuff that they were doing. And Cane's actually just goes out and gets a massive amount of debt. Says, we'll pay whatever amount of rent you want. Build out this store for us, right? The way we want it, pad only, build the suit building. And they're paying, $25,000, $30,000 a month in rent, which is really high because they do about $5 to $6 million in sales in really good locations. And their average stores do $4 million.
Right.
At a $7 average ticket, that is so
much
many
volume.
people.
Yeah.
That is so many people. That's like 3 times the amount of people that I would do, right? It actually is 3 times the amount of people.
Yeah.
So they're making great money. But we talked about this, Edmund and I. I said, why would we want to compete in that space, right? I mean,
Cane's already owns that space.
Cane's does. And there's a company called Dave's Hot Chicken that's trying to compete in that space, right? Chicken tenders only, right? And they do chicken tenders, right, on a bun or off a bun. So you want 3 tenders or 2 tenders, and they'll do like 2 sliders, right? And they're doing the same thing. And they've done a very fast food approach to this Nashville hot chicken. Now they've got an immense amount of franchises. I heard they had like 850 franchises committed last year, right? And that's only the company started in Dave's. Yeah, the company started in 2017. So they did a really good job of scaling fast, but they're having this like wild honeymoon phase where like you can see their stores lines out the door, right? But then 2 or 3 months later, it's like a normal restaurant,
Right.
And if you look at their store counts on like Placer, you ever use Placer?
No.
Placer AI is like
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, to see all the traffic data.
yeah, but it's
People that walk
really
through.
good data.
Yeah.
Like it shows you where they go, like
Yeah.
almost like a GPS.
Yep.
Um,
Tell me about that.
If you use that system, it shows you your demographic, where they come from, where they shop, who they are. And I run those occasionally on my stores and some of the other interesting companies that I want to look at stores. And the honeymoon phase is real. It's a real thing, right? New business opens up, everybody tries it, 3-4 months in, and then your sales plummet. That hasn't happened to us yet because we have good food. Now, Dave's, in order to compete at a Raising Cane's level, think about Cane's and how solidified they are in the market. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they owned all of the chicken farms that produce all of their food. It's all proprietary, right? This farm only makes food for these Cane's restaurants. These potatoes are only grown for Cane's, just like an In-N-Out, where their support is just dialed down to the minuscule thing, the minuscule data, right? For Dave's to compete in that level is impossible. It would take them 10 years to get there, right? And so I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be above that. Personally, my personality is a little more
Premium.
bougie,
Yeah. What shoes you wearing right now?
Yeah, the Louis Vuitton shoes, man. I got this Versace jacket, this RM watch, these diamonds on my thing,
$3 million car outside.
I don't know. I guess I don't fit the bill for the Dave style chicken.
Yeah, you're
right?
not going to open a McDonald's.
I just can't do it, And I'm not trying to say like I'm pretentious, right? Because I was just like you. I mean, when I was 25, I was a cable guy.
Yeah.
Started my first little business renting scooters, turned it into cars, and now we're here, right? So I just happen to like these little things that are very expensive for no reason.
For no
So-
reason other than you can buy them.
Yeah. So when you look at those different models, the value is in the wealth. Just like we talked about at your desk about 10 minutes ago before we started this podcast.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
big monies in the big houses.
Yeah, no,
Right.
100%. I think I've learned this too. High ticket does two things. One is it has way higher profit margins,
Yeah.
right? And two, it gives you a better customer,
Mhm.
right? Like you have less headache because
Less complaints.
yeah, you're just dealing with a higher quality customer. And so most of my businesses are all high ticket. You want to get tax with me? It's going to cost you way more than most tax companies, but we're going to give you a better service. Our coaching isn't cheap. Our e-com's not cheap. Nothing is cheap. To your point of I just want premium stuff. I don't want to play games with the low ticket, high volume items.
If you start in the low area, it's hard to climb out of it,
Yeah.
right? It's easy to go from a high ticket item, right? Like it's easy to sell Louis Vuitton at Ross, right? Because there's always a crazy people that want to front that they can afford that, right? And buy that. But when you start a brand at Ross, it's hard to get into the forum shops, Caesar's Palace, right?
Right.
So like if it doesn't work out on the top, you can always go down, right? If I ever felt like Houston's Hot Chicken wasn't doing a good job, I could always lower the prices,
Right.
right? But in the reality is like just like I learned with car rentals, I used to rent like Corvettes and like the $100,000 sports cars.
Mm-hmm.
I just always had problems. Most of my content was coming from that customer, right? Was the
$100,000 cars?
yeah. They were like, because I rented a Lamborghini for $2,500 for the day. And then I had the Corvette for like 900. So it would bring in the guy for the 2,500, be like, oh, I want that one, but I can't afford it. I'll take this one. But because this one is cheaper, I look at this one like I can mess it up or I can drive it harder or I can do more bad things with this because it's a lower value product. I wouldn't do that with a Lamborghini.
Right.
Right. So like that customer always gave me problems. They always were the ones that were complaining the most. And the gas, they put 87 octane in it when you can't. Like just the littlest, stupidest details.
I've actually always wondered that with Turo and stuff. I'm like people are probably just putting the worst gas in it, like with a premium car.
They definitely do. I'm very fortunate that Lamborghinis now are very quick to censor that stuff. The engine light comes on immediately. It'll tell you it's got low octane in it. It's very smart. So it doesn't happen with us anymore. We require receipts and all those little things. But with Turo, I mean, I watched your videos on Turo,
Mhm.
and I saw the guy that was renting the Lamborghini, and I just like I almost kind of feel bad because like these guys are in like 10, 15 cars deep in these, rental car companies that they build on Turo.
Right.
They don't have the proper education. They don't have the proper support. They leverage their stuff all based on Turo, ad placement, all these different things. They don't know how to service the cars. They don't know the customers, how to train them. And then they're getting someone that's shopping around, right? Like if you're renting on Turo, you're there because you want a cheap price,
Mhm.
right? Enterprise cost more than Turo.
Mhm.
So like you're there for the cheap price. So these guys that are renting Huracans for $800 a day,
Yeah.
they're just getting them trashed,
Because you're getting a bad customer.
because you're getting the customer that pays $800 a day for a Huracan, which
Right.
that car is $400,000 or $350,000,
Right.
right? You shouldn't be renting for $800 a day.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah. So for any but you guys who have a business, think about that, right? Like I always tell people with whether it's social media or business, first define your avatar. Who's the people you want to work with, right? And for me, I like working with, higher level people who, are more respectful, people who are, going to treat things nicely and, just it's a different quality of person. And I've thought about this a lot. And actually, to the point of Houston's Hot Chicken, I've thought about restaurants and things before, and I'm like, well, the turnover in restaurants is so high, right? It's a minimum wage job. Like, man, here at all my other companies, we have no turnover because like they all get paid well. It's a very high quality employee. And so I've been like, man, I don't want any businesses that deal with, more of the minimum wage stuff. But when I went to Houston's, it was different. Like you have very quality employees.
Because they pay them good.
Yeah.
I mean, the inflation's a real thing, right? But like I pay them good. I mean, at the end of the day, you pay for loyalty, right? You pay for trust, right? And you pay for brand representation. A lot of people don't understand when they get a job, that job is there not to pay their bills. It's there to build everybody around them, their culture, right? to build that company, and it's like we have meetings on Fridays and all the company gets together and we all nitpick each other. What are you doing wrong? What's this person doing wrong? It's like an open, point the finger session, right? And it's healthy because, a couple guys get up, they fight each other, not physically, but
Yeah.
we really argue and we get all that, we air it all out. And it creates this like really open environment, and we do the same thing at Houston's Hot Chicken, right? We hold everybody accountable because as a group, they get paid in tips,
Yeah.
right? In addition. Now, our restaurants see $25,000 a month on tips.
Yeah.
If there's 25 to 30 people that are employed in the entire restaurant, that's like $1,000 bonus every month for a person.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money, right? When you're making $15 to $18 an hour and your check is $2,500 for the 2 weeks you worked, and then you get a 20% bonus on the top of that because you're doing good service,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. And so that environment, these guys, they work together. Right. Whereas if you go to like the casino, the dealer is there to get his paycheck so he can pay his rent. Right. He's there. He's doing a menial task, not giving out good service. He's just physically there. They got their masks on, they're straight face. They don't speak,
Yeah.
It's hard to get that. Now you go into the high limit pit. Oh, they got the girls with their shirts down. They got the whole 9 yards out there for these guys because those tips from the whales pay for the rest of the dealers.
Right.
Right. And so it's that same thing, that same philosophy, right? If you work for tips, you end up getting a better customer, right? Because they get that little bonus and that pays for their going out, that pays for their movies, right? Or their car payment,
Right.
No,
100%.
So,
Yeah. So I agree. High ticket like makes a lot more sense. From talking to you, it seems like, most of these high ticket food franchises, call it you guys, Shake Shack, In and Out, Kane. Well, no, Cane's isn't high ticket, but
I mean, I think In-N-Out's not even high ticket
In
either,
and Out's
but
not high ticket.
it's
So,
just
like Chipotle. Would you consider them?
absolutely. I
Yeah.
think so. Like you've got like the big guys in town, which would be Chipotle is probably the most valuable fine casual, right? Is what you'd call it, restaurant in America, in the world.
Right.
I mean, Chipotle is probably worth $30 billion right now. I don't know their stock price today, but Chipotle, put into perspective, 2000, I think it was 13. Don't hold me to these numbers, but 2013, Chipotle had 13 stores in Denver, Colorado. McDonald's came in and bought 99% of the company for $360 million. 13 stores.
That's a big valuation on 13 stores.
I have that same number of stores right now.
Yeah.
So where's my check, guys?
I'll sell.
And it's just like, think about that, right? Like from then, that moment, they paid $360 million because they knew that Chipotle was going to be the next big thing.
Yeah.
Right.
The food was already so good.
They were like, this is great. I'll scale this everywhere. Now there's a Chipotle. There's probably 30 Chipotles in Vegas, maybe 40 Chipotles in Vegas. And they're always packed. They have very solid, the food's always the same. It's very good. It's always like slow roasted and it's always handmade. And it's got that like, I'm going there for lunch because I won't get sick. Right. And so, McDonald's ended up taking the company public and doing their thing. And now they're worth $30+ billion. Right. And so Shake Shack, very similar story, right? Had 2 locations for like 10 years. And then the guy that founded Shake Shack, he was like a high-end restaurant operator. It's a very similar story to Chipotle, actually. The guy that founded Chipotle wanted to just make enough money to open up a fine dining restaurant. Shake Shack, the city of New York asked him because he had this like really cool restaurant. I forgot the name of it, to occupy the space in Central Park that had been vacant, selling hot dogs and hamburgers. Just make it cool. So like, it's like a thing, it's like for the city. Right. And then the line was like 4 hours long. Right. So he was like, man, we got to open another one of these because the line's too long. I want people to eat there. So he opened another one on the other side of the park. Still 4-hour line. Right. And so 10 years later, he realized, he's like, hey, maybe I messed up. Maybe this is the business I should be in. And then they started to expand. Right. Then they went public and now they're there. But, there's only 3 Shake Shacks in Vegas.
Right.
And I know for a fact that they do triple the numbers than any other burger place, probably 10 times the numbers, any burger place here.
Yeah.
Because, their average ticket's in the $30 range, $25, $30.
Right. Yeah. Shake Shack ain't cheap, dude.
And they got beer.
Yeah.
And the burger's actually small, right? Like it's not a big burger. It's like this big. So it's not like huge. And and people like it. People go there.
Yeah.
You know, they got little shuffle board table in there.
Yeah. They just have good culture.
It's cool.
So
It's a cool vibe.
yeah. What does a Chipotle make, you think?
You know, I'd like to look that up, but Chipotle's, all the big boys run over $2.5–3 million a year in gross revenue.
Right.
And Chipotle's margins are probably the same, 25 to 30%. Chipotle probably has a lot more waste, right? Because they let that food sit there. You know, they cook 5 different proteins, right? They've got all these vegetables.
Not all fresh made. It's just
It's fresh made, but they make it in the morning and then they let it sit there. And so, like, if they have a slow day, the chicken might go bad, they throw it away, right? Like Cafe Rio, you know, these like self-service Subway style or like sandwich style build your own burrito places have a lot of waste.
Right.
They have a lot of overhead. There's a huge kitchen staff, right? So their margins are going to be less than like fine casual where it's sandwiches, you know, where it's like burgers or chicken or something, because everything's made to order. When you have order at Shake Shack, you just put the meat on the grill, then you make it, right? It's not like a burrito.
Yeah, you don't have to make a bunch.
Yeah, they don't take the prepped carne asada, start grilling it, and then make you a burrito. It's already made. So that system is cool for efficiency, right? Like it takes longer to get your food at Shake Shack, but you're going to make more money.
Right. That makes sense.
So our average ticket time's like 4 minutes.
Yeah. Because you're making it right there.
It's fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with McDonald's and Burger King and, you know, Del Taco, which is my favorite restaurant of all time. Like, what are these stores bringing in?
7%, 8% margins.
They're really low margin.
Yeah, they have really low food. I mean,
what's the gross? Because there's so many of them.
Del Taco, I know a little bit more about Del Taco than the other ones, because I took over a Del Taco location, corporate store. It was bringing in about $90,000 a month, which is about $3,000 a day, and they were open almost 24 hours. Right, so they closed between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. So they were closed 3 hours a day. And Del Taco is like $1.39 a taco now, right? It used to be like 69 cents.
Yeah,
you cannot, period, get food that cheap anymore, and they can't hold employees because they're $7–8 an hour. Their margins are built on minimum wage, right? Their managers are making $14 an hour, right? Like our starting wage is higher than that. So like their margins are so low because they just, their food is so cheap, right? I mean, you're supposed to be out of a Del Taco full meal $5.
Crazy.
It's impossible. Like Subway. You know, Subway's got 40-something thousand locations and they're closing them every day.
Really?
Yeah, there's a Subway closing somewhere every day.
Because it's just too cheap.
How do you make a $5 sandwich?
Yeah.
You can't. You can't. I mean, and it's funny because like it's inflation, right? But people that are used to a $5 sandwich expect you to give them a $5 sandwich.
Yeah.
If it's a $7 sandwich, be like, oh, inflation. They're like, okay, well, we're going to eat somewhere else.
Yeah.
They only want $5 sandwiches.
Yeah. I was in New York the other day and I went to the 99-cent pizza places. They're not 99 cents anymore. But
How?
even though the store's name is literally 99 cent pizza. It's so funny. But dude, it pains me to hear that because Del Taco is literally my favorite restaurant.
Funny story. My uncle lives next door to the founder of Del Taco.
Oh. And
that's why I know a little bit about it.
He lives here in Vegas?
No, he lives in Temecula, something like that. But yeah, dude, he's so good at what he does. He built Del Taco for his family. Like, I love that business.
Yeah.
You know? And you can go to the original one, still in Barstow, still open, still family owned.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, wait, that original one? Okay. I've seen that Barstow.
The original one is in like a neighborhood. They built like a bunch of houses around it. So it's like the one on Linwood Road was one of the original ones.
Got it.
But the original one's off like, I went there actually. It was pretty cool. It's like a weird long building. It's like super odd. It's got like this crazy drive-through. It's like 200-foot drive-through. It's really unorganized. But it's the original Del Taco. And they like built a high school and like literally there's just a bunch of houses built around it. Like imagine just going into a normal neighborhood and just seeing a Del Taco in the middle. That's exactly what it looks like.
Instead of a park.
Exactly.
Del Taco. Most people want to get rich at all costs. They make sacrifices with their family, their health, and their faith, all in the pursuit of money without even realizing it. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? What if you could grow your wealth in all areas of life? Well, it's possible, and that's why I created The Wealthy Way. It's a community of people striving to grow together in all areas. And we have multiple tools for you to use that are completely free. you can get access to the Wealthy Way Planner, where you can set goals and hold yourself accountable on a daily basis. We also have our Wealthbuilder Academy, which is over 4 hours of content teaching you how to manage your time, create the right goals, and all the biggest secrets I've used to grow my life, not only in my net worth, but in all aspects. Lastly, we have our Discord community where thousands of wealth builders are all over the world encouraging one another and growing together. And once again, all of this is completely free. There are no upsells, there are no hidden catches. For me, this is a passion project and I want to build a community of like-minded people. So if you want to start living the wealthy way today, go to wealthyway.com. There you can get all the free resources like the course, planner, and Discord community. So go to wealthyway.com.
But yeah, Del Taco, I mean, they're closing a lot of them, but their metric is for every 50,000 people. You know, there's over 50 Del Tacos in Vegas.
I know. I've been to a majority of them.
Yeah. So isn't there one outside?
Bro, I'll eat a Del Taco anywhere, anytime. Grilled chicken tacos, so good.
I agree. Actually, it's so funny. One of my employees had Del Taco for lunch today. He had the online ordering on deltaco.com. He was selecting his items. But yeah, those businesses don't make money. So the one that we took over closed. They were doing, $90,000 a month. I mean, at those margins, 10%, 8%. I mean, what are you making? $8,000. If you got 50 of them, it's not terrible, right? But you're better off opening one super expensive restaurant instead of 50 small stores, right? Because if something like, I don't want to say the pandemic, but if some disastrous event happens, you got to float 50 people or 50 store payroll.
Right. 100%.
You know?
So with Houston's, what do the margins look like there since you guys are high ticket?
We're high 20s, low 30s. Right now, our margins are skewed because we're opening so many stores so fast that we're training a lot of corporate staff on the payroll. So like I've got like a 5+ people that are $70,000 a year plus, and they're sitting on my payroll, right? So corporate doesn't
not as profitable yet because you're built for scale.
Yeah, corporate hasn't brought in any money, right? Our first franchise store opened last month, so we'll get our first franchise check, at the end of this month, right? And it'll bring our first corporate revenue in,
right?
Now the stores make money, pay corporate, right? And then we expand and use that money to build more stores,
right? So
right now, because we're building so many stores, we're not taking any checks home, but the stores are doing great. If we're doing an average of 300, like my Green Valley store did 313,000 last month, and my Ann Road store, the one you went to, did about 375. Right. And if they're doing 25 to 29%, those are great numbers. It's
$100,000 a month net.
Easy.
Yeah.
Right. And even if we went down, right, like the drive-through makes less margin because you have 5 extra people there, right? Because you're serving 2 windows, right? So you're doing more customers, but you have more labor. That's why I'm not a big proponent of drive-through. You end up shooting yourself.
Your business.
You shoot yourself in the foot with the drive-through.
What if you get your drive-through dialed in like Chick-fil-A though?
Yeah, but Chick-fil-A, they're not dialed in. The Chick-fil-A is like 35 people working at one time. It's like there's like 17 people in the drive-through. Like, sure, you're selling a $4 chicken sandwich, dude. Like the volume of Chick-fil-A allows you to have all those people there. But like the way a Chick-fil-A franchise works is you pay $10,000. They build, the corporate company builds it out, makes you like an owner operator. You're not like a true franchisee, and you have a maximum pay. Right. So you can only make up to, I think it's $250,000. Not a bad job, but it's not like you can have 10 Chick-fil-A's in town. Right. And we owner operating them all, or, having a group of team or whatever. Like Chick-fil-A is like the most ridiculous business model ever for anybody that wants to get involved in their business.
Right.
Now it's like a charity. Well, yeah, it's like a charity case, right? Apply to be a franchisee, and give us $10,000, and then we'll build you a store, control your whole life, and basically give you a job. Right. It's like, it's a poor capitalist environment. Right. So if you want to make money, you don't have a Chick-fil-A. Right. And that's why they run so not debt heavy. That's the way they run so payroll heavy. It's all about service.
Right.
So the only one making money is Chick-fil-A themselves.
Right. That makes sense. And In-N-Out is still private, right?
Yeah. In-N-Out makes great money. I mean, all their stores do $4 million plus.
Yeah.
Right. I think I heard the one down here does $10 million a year on Tropicana.
Oh, that one right by the strip. That's ridiculous.
I mean, it looks like $10 million a year. Their
sign is huge.
It's like, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, if you get a business like that and you're stable and you have a simple menu and you can control your cost and, you have good employees and the leaner, I mean, I don't know if you have it over there, but there's a bunch of books over here. Do you have the Lean Startup around here somewhere?
I've read it. Yeah.
Like, read that book, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even Peter Thiel's book, 0 to 1,
Yeah.
that's a good book. There's a lot of knowledge in that book about being lean,
Yeah.
right? Like these startup companies hire thousands of employees, pay them, everybody gets 100 grand,
Yeah.
right? And then they lay off 20% of their workforce if they don't get their round A, C, D, whatever funding.
Yeah.
And they're just borrowing money to pay payroll,
Right.
and they're just blowing it in hopes to go public, right? That's a bad way to build business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Start it lean, start it clean,
Try to make
grow
profit.
it, make a profit.
Yeah.
Brick and mortar, this whole notion of brick and mortar is dead is wrong, right? It all recirculates, right? Like people want to go out to eat. We're not going to be in the metaverse, bro. Like I know this whole metaverse thing is a real thing, but like you're not going to turn the entire world into sitting at their computer at home, working online, staying online, and building cubicles around us and ordering everything to us. I mean,
Mhm.
that's not reality,
Mhm.
right? It's a cool movie, but like people want to leave their house, they want to go out to eat, they want to have experience, they want to have entertainment, and it showed you. We got
Right.
locked up in our house for 2 months, like 8 weeks, like 7 weeks, right? And we weren't even like locked up, and then boom, we had the craziest expansion in travel history, right? Like everybody was just allowed to stay there,
Right.
and they all wanted to leave, So that tells me that A, the metaverse is not a good idea. And B, that people want to actually physically leave and travel,
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I look at the metaverse, obviously I'm crypto heavy, and I believe the metaverse is going to have its play. It's obviously remains to be seen how it will play out. But to your point, yeah, real experiences are never going away. Going out to eat, enjoying good service with a good waiter, going and traveling, that stuff's never going away.
I'm not going to
Um,
lie to you. I did buy land in the sandbox to build a digital Houston's Hot Chicken so that the avatars could be eating their chicken sandwiches because I do think there's people out there that are insane enough to buy a chicken sandwich for their avatar. But I definitely don't believe in that business model.
You're not betting all your chips on it.
Not betting it.
Yeah. No, I think the metaverse is going to be key for its own experiences. Like whether, you've seen the thing with Mark Zuckerberg talking about how people will work in the metaverse. I could definitely see that happening.
Mark Zuckerberg is an alien
He is.
from the metaverse.
He's made from the metaverse. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was digitally created as an NFT.
definitely was.
But yeah, I could see people, because like we were just talking about this. You're like, dang, like, are these all your employees? And I'm like, well, probably half of us are remote.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you can build culture and make everybody not remote.
Dude, the best part about my business is that you have remote employees because they're the ones that are going to want to go out to lunch. Like,
Oh yeah,
that's the best part, right? Like working from home is a great accelerant to people wanting to get out and eat out, right? Because they're home all day,
right. They got to get out.
They got to get out. People that go to work, physically go to work, they want to leave work for lunch. Right?
What I've realized is I think there's definitely a shift towards people eating out way more than they used to. Way more.
I have a chef like you.
Yeah.
Right. And it's funny because we have a very similar lifestyle. And
Well, hold on. I don't have a $3 million car and wear red bottoms.
you could though.
Yeah. Well, I'd be very mad at myself for
Hang
buying a
out with
$3
me
million.
for like a month and you'll probably change, right? You are who you hang out with. So
That's true.
I'll either
I'll keep a safe distance
Yeah.
from you.
I agree because I don't want to have a Rolex, no
Yeah.
offense,
Yeah.
and a $1 million car. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I like my $3 million one and my RM. But look, my point is it's like I have a chef and it's actually not expensive to have a chef these days.
No.
And honestly, if you are a thrifty shopper when it comes to ingredients, you can reuse so many things. And what I spend eating out is more than what I spend with a chef.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but that being said, if I did not have a chef, I do not want to cook anymore for myself. Period. I have not turned on my stove to make anything in 5 years. And even before that, like before I started royalty and before I had a little bit, disposable income, I didn't want to cook either. Right. Like there's just that notion. I don't want to clean. I don't want to do any of that when we can go out and get better food.
Right.
You know, I can't make a Houston's hot chicken sandwich at home. I don't have the skill set for that.
Right.
The time to brine the food and to do all this and all this crazy stuff that it takes. I mean, it takes 2 days to make that sandwich.
Right.
You know, like I ordered. You ever been to Portillo's?
No.
Okay, it's an Italian beef place in Chicago. One of my favorites, right? I love Chicago. My dad was from Italy, but he grew up in Chicago, right? And we go there to watch the Bears game once a year, right?
Okay.
And there's always this Italian beef place, Portillo's, and they sell it online. Okay, you have to like boil it and do all the spices, and it's like a do-it-yourself at home kit, right? I have better odds of flying to Chicago to buy that Italian beef sandwich than doing that again. Just put it that way. And they gave me directions. Okay,
That's funny.
It's really interesting how much people are changing.
You know what business model's funny that I've always looked at is Papa Murphy's.
Oh my God, how does that even make any sense?
How does that place
I
exist?
say that all the time. Who goes and gets pizza and then brings it home and cooks it?
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah. I don't know how Papa Murphy's exists. I want to see their margins.
I want to see their margins, dude. That's absolutely asinine. That is a real business these days.
They've been
you know?
around forever too. It's not like, it was some crazy idea and it just got shot down. They've been around.
I swear to you, they sell like frozen
Drugs.
pizza. No, they just sell you. They ship the pizza in, and it's like a convenience store for pizza only, right? It's like a 7-Eleven for just pizza.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know if they create your pizza for you?
I have no clue.
Yeah,
I went
never
to
wanted
Papa
buy
Murphy's one time because I heard they were going out of business, and I asked them like, I wanted to see their back of their space. I was like, how big is this space? Heard you guys are leaving. You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. Papa Murphy's is
Yeah, because the dough's not fresh.
No.
Nothing about it is fresh.
no, they don't even have an oven.
You still have to cook it yourself. Yeah, they're a convenience store. That's what they are.
There, it's a convenience store. I think the reason why Papa Murphy's is actually good and still in business, if I could give you a guess, is EBT. It's funny, he just showed me that.
What is EBT?
Food stamps.
Oh, okay.
That's why. That's why it's food stamps, like state funded money, right?
Yeah.
When you get those things, cannot be spent on prepared food.
Oh.
You can go into a 7-Eleven, right? And you can buy frozen food, or you can buy some of their like over the counter food and then they heat it up for you. You can spend your money on that.
So you couldn't do it at Houston's.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I wouldn't even want that customer.
Right.
Because they're the ones that are going to complain.
Right.
Anybody that gets anything for free is the biggest complainer for some reason,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. I learned something new today.
Yeah.
So tell me about this. With Houston's, I mean, like, what's the goal here? I mean, do you guys want to open 1,000 stores to go public? Like, what's the big vision?
Well, I do have the company structure designed to go public. Shake Shack, Chipotle. I like that $1 billion check idea, right? It's a cool thing, you know? Anytime you get paid, 10 figures for something is attractive. With inflation, all the things that are going on, I see the chicken business being a multi-billion-dollar company. And multiple chicken businesses can be a multi-billion-dollar company, right? If Guy Raz, that's the podcast guy that I was telling you about, he's interviewed 5-6 restaurant people that I've never even heard of that have $1 billion valuations. And it's like the number 1 billion is a real thing, right? Everybody says I'm going to be a billionaire now. Number one, I don't know why. Like, why do you need to be a billionaire? $100 million and $1 billion is almost the same thing, unless you like yachts, right? It's the only thing are planes that you can really diversify your money on. But it's like crazy to think that that's a reality now. I mean, everybody can get these evaluations. So if I get $50 million in revenue, right, corporately, just with a 10 times EBITDA, and that's not industry standard on the stock market, that's 500 million.
Yeah.
Right? If I can get to 20, like a Chipotle or a Shake Shack, that's $1 billion.
Yeah.
$50 million in revenue, that's like, I'll be there next year.
Right.
And imagine me doing double that, triple that, 4 times that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this is a big company. It's got big legs. It can grow. And I want to start just opening big markets. I love the international market of this company.
Right.
Like UK, Canada, Mexico, chicken's everywhere, dude. And in the Middle East, it's the only thing, So think about being in like Saudi Arabia or Qatar or Dubai. They don't eat beef, pork. They don't eat any of that. I mean, there is beef. Yeah, sure. But like 90% of their food is chicken based.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
I mean, you could be like the number 1 selling restaurant. Like, I don't know if you can. You eat at KFC?
Not often, but I mean, obviously I've eaten there.
Yeah. Like KFC's like a hugely profitable store or hugely profitable business all outside this country. Kentucky Fried Chicken is like the shit. everywhere else.
But out here, everyone's like, yeah, whatever.
Dude, in Cairo, Egypt, because we have a guy that franchised a bunch of stores in Egypt. And like, I started looking at the reviews of KFC and people are like, oh, it's the best. I mean, it's just like 5 stars on 5 stars on 5 stars. And I'm thinking like, what? KFC? Like, that's crazy.
Wait, but you sold stores in Cairo already?
Correct. Yeah. My partner Edmund is actually, today's the 6th. So tomorrow morning he flies to Egypt for a month.
Wow.
To set up infrastructure out there.
That's crazy.
It's wild. I actually said no at first, and then he was like, I want 30 stores. And I was like, yes, let's do it.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We will fly out there personally. We will help you.
Edmund is on a plane, and that's why he's on the plane right now. So yeah, we're talking, it's actually a really funny story. So originally we had this guy that wanted to do this, right? He was a friend of our franchisee that just opened, and young guy, cool guy. But he got cold feet. You know, I think it was a lot for him to handle, right? He was also young, had a lot more money that he knew what to do with. And he was like, I want to move to Egypt. I've got a girl out there. I want to take on these stores. I want to handle it. And we went back and forth and talked about the numbers, and we didn't come to a deal, right? And then we immediately after, because we started talking about this, right? Like we started talking about going to the Middle East. And then we got insane interest in another group that wanted Dubai, right?
Wow.
And so we said, well, hey, look, we talked about this with this other guy and we kind of like promised him, but if it falls through, we'll let you know. So it fell through, and then we let the other guy know. And now it's like this huge thing, right. Big company. How many people you think are in Egypt? It blew my mind when I even symmetric.
I have no idea.
I thought Egypt was like this big.
How many?
It's 106 million people in Egypt.
What?
And over 1 million people move there every month.
Why are they moving there?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. And I don't know how many people are moving out, right? What that is.
Right.
Like it's tough because Google only gives you so much information of why they say those things. But yeah, they were telling me like that these metrics are wild. 106 million people living in Egypt.
That's crazy.
I mean, just think of that.
Yeah.
That's like so many people.
That's a big market. So yeah, it's funny because we were talking, as you know, when I went and saw the store, I was like, oh dude, like it'd be cool to own a Vegas store. Like I'd be down. And you guys are already pretty much sold out of Vegas. And after that first episode, you were like, yo, you know, a lot of people are coming like applying for these franchises, but they can't really afford them yet. You know, they got 50 grand, 70 grand, but it's not going to be enough. And nor do you want to really own just one because it kind of becomes a job versus
Exactly.
investment.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, dude, you should start a fund. And it was funny because literally one of my clients messaged me. He goes, dude, if you run the Houston's Hot Chicken for me, I will buy it right now. Like I'll buy it. I'll put up the money. You just make sure you handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang, man, a lot of people might like want this. And you were like, dude, they want it.
I can tell you that they want it. I'm getting the same emails you're getting. You're getting the emails from people that are your subscribers and the people that you work with. I'm getting it from my side. And all the podcasts that I've been doing and different things talking about this business. And I've been thinking about it. Like, I never really understood what a fund was until I met you. And actually I met Graham. Graham told me he did a deal with you. And then I watched those videos. I learned about it. Then we met and we started talking, and it just opened my eyes up to like this whole new opportunity for other people. Right. Because I mean, it's expensive to do this. I don't really see, like, we get like probably 50 to 100 franchise inquiries a week, more accelerated if we do videos, talk about them on the internet. And so we have like a little net worth and a little cash on hand questionnaire.
Right.
Majority of people have between $100,000 and $500,000 in cash on hand. Right. Most people have between 100 and 250. Right. Available to invest. Right. Not like in their total amount, but very rarely do we get a 500 to 2 million. Right. And that's really the guys that I want to own and operate businesses.
Yeah, because they're going to be able to buy 5 of them, 10 of them.
And also like they're not really looking for this as their only source of income.
Right.
That's the key ingredient to building a business. You either are building a business that you created and you're living on top ramen and you're doing it yourself, or you're investing in something like what we do with your fiduciary or like your secondary income.
Right.
And so like those guys are the guys we want. And we don't want them struggling because you don't want 500 emails saying, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money?
Oh, 100%.
I thought we are going to make more money. I can't do this. You know, like I don't want any stressed out investors.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, that being said, there's a way to get everybody involved, right? And to get a collective group of people, and like we do it per store, you know. Let's say, for instance, let's do the Hawaii market because it's a small market, right? The entire state is probably like maybe 10 stores tops,
And I have a
okay?
big Hawaii following.
Which is great.
Yeah.
The Hawaii market is isolated, right? So there's no outside influence. The marketing is all very similar. There is travel, tourism, but like Hawaii is Hawaii, right? Like we can just count on the dollars that we spend in Hawaii to stay in Hawaii, right? Whereas if we spend dollars in California, it might come to Vegas and, you know, vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say it costs $500,000 per store, right? So we need 5 million, right? But we don't need the 5 million tomorrow. We just get 10 guys with 50 G's.
Yep.
And they each own a tenth of that percentage of store.
Right.
Right. And we isolate those 10 to that store, and we isolate this 10 to this store, and we continue to build those stores the more people we get. Right. And I think it's just like a very simple solution to a lot of these guys wanting to invest.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I agree.
I mean, this is my first time. This is so if I'm saying the wrong thing, let me know because
No,
I don't know.
It could totally work. You know, obviously if there's enough demand for it and it makes sense. You know, when you brought it up, you know, and then multiple people emailing me about it, I was like, man, like maybe I should raise money to go just start a Houston's Hot Chicken Fund and go team up with corporate. Cause so like, let's explain this too. You know, when you buy a franchise, if you buy one store, you know, you don't have corporate running everything for you, you know, like,
For like 30 days to 60 days, I'm gonna hook you up.
right,
I'm gonna run it for you.
right,
I'm gonna teach you how to do it. But then I'm gonna be like, here's the keys, man. I gotta go because I got another guy that needs the same thing.
right,
Right. And so it's like I don't want to say you're on your own, but we're designing this for you to be on your own, you know? So
and that's normal for a franchise.
that's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you still have to run your own business and do your thing. You just have all the tools available to you,
Mhm.
essentially. But with what you're talking about with corporate, is that basically it's done for you. Like corporate's doing everything from start to finish. It's purely passive for that person who's investing in this type of deal.
100%.
Yeah.
And what's good about corporate running it is that store doesn't have. So let me break down the franchise fees real quick. If you do, well, based on a multi-unit deal, it'll be 4.5% plus 3%, right? So you got 3% advertising, 1% local, 2% national,
Right.
4.5% gross sales comes back. And then there's some other little things on top of that with like, you know, where you have to buy your food and all those things, right? So your margin is very specific, right? You're like 8% down, right?
Right.
7.5%. With this particular investment, you wouldn't have that advertising cost.
Right.
You wouldn't have that fee of 4.5%.
Mhm.
So you would be getting the profit margin of corporate, right?
Yeah.
With the availability to make all that extra money. So 7.5% of gross sales, right, can affect your bottom line more than 7.5%.
Right.
Because you have to take off your labor on top of that, right?
Right.
So it's not like a minus 7.5% from the 29% that we're doing,
Right.
right? It could change that margin on the bottom more, right? Because it's like a fee, right? It's like almost like a rent you're paying.
Mhm.
So if we get involved with a group of people that put together and corporate runs it, the margin will be based off the corporate margin, which is high.
Mhm.
It's much higher than a franchise.
Right.
So there's more ability to make money there for
Yeah.
everybody.
100%. Yeah. I think it's a great idea. For everyone listening, there is no fun for this right now. Houston and I just been talking about it because it makes sense. I also don't even know what the demand would be, you know, if it really was out there. It'd most likely have to be an accredited investor fund, just like all of our current funds. But
So explain accredited investor,
yeah,
just
so
to people that maybe from my side, because I'm going to shout this podcast
Yeah.
out.
So an accredited investor is somebody who has a net worth of over $1 million, or if they're single, has made 200 grand plus the last 2 years in a row.
Okay.
So that's it.
That's just
Um,
basically saying you're a wealthy investor.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
You know, you've obviously made money. You know what you're investing in, right? So that's what most of actually all of our real estate funds have been to this point.
And why do you do that specifically like that? Just
It's
curious.
easier to get it through. You know, if we were to go do a non-accredited fund, it's a lot more work and there's a lot more red tape and all these things. And we do plan to do non-accredited at some point for real estate.
Do
But
you think you would need to do that? Now, I'm just talking off the top of my head. I don't really know a lot about this, but do you think you would need to do that if those people are buying into a business, right?
yeah,
It's a-
for
it's
any,
a,
any
like-
kind of fund, it's all the same. It doesn't matter what. I can make a fund for real estate. I can make it for buying crypto. I can make it for buying businesses.
Really?
It's all the same.
Okay.
So Yeah, I mean, starting it up would be a very similar process to what we do now. But yeah, we don't have it right now. So for those listening, I'm putting this out there as a feeler just to kind of gauge the temperature. If you think that you would want to invest in a fund that bought Houston's hot chickens, um, then I guess go to pinedacapital.com. I don't even have a place to send you. Go to pinedacapital.com, fill out our investor form like you would anyway for any of our other funds, and let my team know. And that'll kind of give us a temperature of, if this is something that we should start and
Yeah.
pursue. Because I love the business. I wouldn't have you on here if I thought the business sucked. I've tasted the quality, I've seen the margins, and I'm like, this is great. It's just logistically, doing it at scale is kind of what I'm still wrapping my head around what it would look like, especially for you guys building out more corporate instead of only having franchisees.
I think I'd like a good balance of that, right? I mean, corporate stores look better in your balance sheet,
Yeah.
right? Because all the gross earnings go onto your balance sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get those 7-figure numbers from every store, you're like, wow, this looks great. Versus getting a $10,000 check
Yeah.
from one store, 2 store. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have 100 stores, right? I mean, you're getting a $10,000 check from 100 stores a month.
A lot of money.
It's still cool, but it's only like, it's like 1 million versus getting $1 million from like all of your stores every single month. It's like a little bit different, but
Right.
I like this idea. And, if you guys think it's a good idea, that's a great idea. Because I think it's not that many people that need to go in on it, right? And every store doesn't have to be a banger $500,000 store, right? We can put together kind of like how you do real estate flips.
Yeah.
You have
Some
$1
are just
million
basic
mansions and
entry-level
you have
ones,
$300,000 ones, right?
Right.
So, we can do the same thing, I think, with
But no drive-throughs.
I'm not doing drive-throughs. Just not doing it. Just not doing it.
Yeah. How tight would it be to own all of Hawaii as a territory, and we just
See, that's the
light
best.
it up with hot chicken.
I love it because Hawaii is a great place to be because you're owning the entire state,
Yeah.
right? Imagine owning all of California,
Be nuts.
Just think, I mean, this is hard for people to wrap their head around, but at one point, Cane's and Starbucks and Chipotle, these companies didn't exist.
Mhm.
There was nothing before them, right? And it's like, just think about how fast they grew. Let's talk about us in 5 years,
Right.
right? People are like, oh, well, that's Cane's, the best. It's the best because you've eaten it so many times,
Right.
right? When you eat Houston's hot chicken or HHC, whatever you want to call it, 10, 15, 20 times, it becomes the best.
Yeah.
You're emotionally connected to it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever eaten an Earl the sandwich.
Well, yeah, I have.
There's one inside the Planet Hollywood that's
Uh-huh.
open till like 5 a.m.
Yep.
Has like the most amount of reviews for any restaurant in the whole of Las Vegas because everybody's drunk, right?
love it.
And they're just like free cookie for a review. So it's like, there's like 9,000 reviews on the Earl the sandwich.
And let me tell you, this is, as we wrap up here, for me, I have no interest in Houston's hot chicken as of this moment. That might change, obviously. But like, I really believe that if you just gave me the choice, I said, hey, Ryan, you got to go pick a place to eat, and you were going to go pick between Chick-fil-A, Cane's, Houston's, I would pick Houston's. I would go eat there, regardless of price and even regardless of health too, which I know you're big on health. I'm just looking at it like, dude, what tastes really good? And I would eat Houston's.
I would agree with you. Yeah. Like I would definitely agree with you. I don't eat a lot of fried food. I know I look like I do, but I don't. And I'm telling you, it's a different vibe, dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt your stomach, and that's a real thing. I mean, just there's so much data on this.
Yeah.
Like this is a real solution to a problem.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to be had here, and I don't want to sit here and kind of keep talking about it, but I think that there is a good plan to come up with something. Now, hopefully we can work that plan out because it'd be great to have you as a partner. I enjoy hanging out with you, and I do think that if you hang out with me long enough,
I'm gonna end up with a $3 million
you'll
car.
start to scale up. So
do you have a private jet yet?
I do. Yeah,
You do?
I have a Falcon 50.
A Falcon 50. What do those cost? I don't even know. I'm so non bougie that I just don't even know.
They're relatively expensive. I mean, I don't know.
What do they cost?
I bought this plane for $2 million.
Okay.
It's not a brand new Falcon 50.
Yeah.
It's a It's a brand new serviced Falcon 50. It's got 3 engines, 10 seats. I needed it because I'm franchising so much.
Yeah,
Right.
you're
And
going to
I
be
just,
going everywhere.
I was chartering and the price of chartering just started skyrocketing. So I actually just bought it last month in June. I get the plane in September.
Oh, you just bought it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I get the plane in September. It's doing a C
Congrats.
inspection right now.
That's awesome.
And my plan is to paint it purple, like all my cars,
Nice.
and have like that soul plane looking airplane.
Soul plane.
Yeah. The big spinners
Is it
on
going to
it.
have Houston's Hot Chicken on it?
Probably not. I'll probably say my name because Houston's Hot Chicken didn't buy it. You know,
Yeah. You bought it.
if my business partner Edmund wants to chip in and pay for at least half,
Yeah. Where's Edmund at?
you know, Edmund needs to chip in and then he can.
What did you budget the cost to maintain it?
Well,
a year?
so I know what the cost to maintain that plane is, and it's essentially you're looking at like $300 an hour per engine, right, to
Okay.
maintain them,
Yep.
and it gets 300 and I don't know, like. So it's just an average of 270 gallons an hour, right, that you're
Okay.
burning. Plus you pay a pilot $75,000-$80,000 a year salary, right? I already have a hangar because I have a helicopter tour company. So that's already, I kind of get that for free because it's already there. And you get a co-pilot if you want to fly farther, right? But it's not that much. Now it's a 3-engine plane, so it's $900 an hour just for the engines automatically.
Right.
And that's actually like really overkill, right? Because
You don't need 3 engines.
well, you don't, but it's nice to have the 3 engines because it goes faster,
Right.
right? And I can fly higher,
Right.
you know? So I can get to Miami or Hawaii, a 5-hour flight in 40 minutes or less the time than you can get in a regular plane.
Right.
I can land at so many more airports, right? Because of approach angles and all these different things. So
Ah.
for me, that plane saves me more time than anything else ever. So
I flew private for the first time ever 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
where'd you go?
We went to San Fran, then LA, and back. But it got me thinking. I'm like, okay, how much does this cost? Like, should I get one? What's the deal? Then one of my buddies was like, the best value plane is the Pilatus PC-12. Did you look into that?
Yeah, but those are way too small for me. Like I have what would be considered almost a heavy jet,
Yeah,
right? What did you fly on? Do you know?
I can't even remember what it was. Yeah, I don't even know.
Could you stand up in it?
A little bit. It
So you
was
probably went on
cramped.
like a
It was like a
Hawker.
mid jet.
Yeah, you probably went on like a Hawker. Who'd you fly with? Do you remember the charter operator?
I have no idea, dude. I can't even remember anything.
Well, Cirrus Aviation is kind of
Yeah.
like the larger charter operator here. They've
Yeah.
got a lot of small mid jets.
Yeah.
They do like Lear
They
60s.
said it. Oh yeah, it was a Lear. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, so that would make sense. I mean, if I were to fly 1 hour to San Francisco, it'd be on a Lear.
Yeah.
Because they're way less expensive to fly. I mean, they cost $1,700 an hour, like wholesale, right? I mean, that's so cheap. When you're looking at like a Challenger 604, it's like $8,000 an hour, right? And like a Gulfstream can be $50,000 an hour,
Right.
depending on what you got going on, right? I mean, there's just so much different in aviation. I really wanted a Dassault Falcon 2000, but those engines are almost impossible to get now. So it's got like the fuselage of a Challenger, which is huge. It looks like a living room. It's massive. It's 8.5 feet wide. It's like got a bed and everything in it. It's a really nice jet, but they cost like $6,000-$7,000 an hour to run.
Geez, 900 versus
So
6,000.
crazy amounts of money for those.
Yeah.
Engine overhauls are $500-$600K versus like
Jeez.
the plane I got has Honeywell engines on it. So it's like $100K to overhaul those each, right? And they do 4,000 hours, 5,000 hours each before you overhaul them, which is a lot. I mean, think about that. Like think about 5,000 hours of flying.
That's so much flying.
You have to fly to Miami 1,000 times. That's a lot of flying.
Yeah, you'll get a new plane before then.
It'd be impossible for me to fly 5,000 hours on the same plane.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So the way I look at it is like saving time is the most important thing.
No,
right?
I'm with you. And that's kind of what's changed my perspective of like, you know what? Probably going to end up in a jet here in the next 12 months.
I mean, if you're flying a lot, right, you could definitely share mine. It's going to sit here, and I only got it because I don't like the
All
airport.
right, then I don't need to get a jet. We're good.
Yeah, because you could just
Once
as
we're
long
business
as
partners, you're going to have to give it to me anyway.
yeah. I mean, I don't mind honestly. just take it. Like, just pay for the cost, right? I mean, just pay for what it takes.
Yeah.
Don't spend $2 million and buy your own and have to hang your it and do all this stuff. Just pay the cost, and it helps everybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of like sharing, like the jet membership thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. That's not really the way it is. It's more like just being cool with your friends and just
Yeah.
like everybody using it when they need it.
All right, I'm in. That's
So-
going to actually help my wife get the taste because she's never done it. And I told her, I'm like, private's nice, but I think you might kind of not like the turbulence. because she's very like, queasy
they
with
fly
it.
higher, dude. There's not that much turbulence.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I mean, Tony sitting over here, one of my guys, he's flown with me a handful of times. And like I flew back from Cerritos, in a smaller jet, and it's only a 40-minute flight. And both of us were just sitting there smooth sailing. And one of my employees had to take Southwest because he needed to be back before 5 o'clock. And I couldn't leave that early. And he said it was the worst flight of his whole life. And we flew back an hour later. The same exact weather, super smooth.
Right.
So the higher you fly, the smoother it is.
That makes
Right.
sense.
So if you're flying at 30,000, 35,000 feet, there's a lot of turbulence there.
Got it.
Right. So it's a big notion of those things. Plus, you're in control. Right. Like if there's a problem, like you can see it. Not a problem like a real problem, but like when you're in a Southwest airline, it just feels like you're there as a prisoner, man. I mean, like you're sit down, don't talk. We're not leaving the runway right now. You can't get off this plane.
Houston,
Like,
I'm already hanging out with you too long, dude. You're already convincing me to go cancel my flight this weekend with Southwest. And I don't know what I'm going to do now. But dude, hey, it's been great having you on, man. Always great hanging out. I am definitely going to hit you up on the jet. And guys, like I said, if you're interested in potentially doing this, it's not anything for sure, but go to PinedaCapital.com. We'll take your info down. We'll probably sell you on a real estate deal in the meantime.
I like it.
But Houston and I are going to continue to talk and see what we can do. And Houston, dude, it's been great having you on, man. Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, honestly, I'm pretty stoked about the future of our friendship here.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you in a $3 million car and a new jet next year.
There we go. You heard it here first, guys. All right. Make sure you subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching The Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to work with me, head over to ryanpineda.com. You can find my courses, coaching programs, and upcoming events. We also have free resources you can download, so head over to ryanpineda.com.